You could be forgiven for thinking of the bushveld when hearing the words fire pit, but design has come a long way, and adding one of these to your garden could be a great addition. Here in South Africa, we're so blessed to have weather that allows us to pretty much go out all year round and use our gardens as an entertainment area. And from time immemorial, people have been fascinated with fire. So bringing fire into your garden, be it as a bonfire, a fire pit, or just braaiing, is the best way of having a convivial atmosphere. So fire pits, are they a fad thing? Is it something that you do need to have in your garden? Is there a reason why you should have one? Well, we're going to be asking Craig de Necker exactly what got him into fire pits, because he's been creating these marvelous creations for about 10 years now. Craig, where did it all start for you?
So for me, whenever I think of spending time outdoors, it's always about the environment that you're in, the same as it would be when you're indoors. So people decorate their houses to a large degree, but outside quite often they tend to forget about going that extra mile. They just put a few plants in the garden and they forget that outdoors is also a living space, or it provides a living area. So when it comes to fire and water are the two natural elements that show movement, other than wind, which is always around us. But a fire flickering away is just such a nice, it provides a nice atmosphere, and it gives a sense of life. It's almost like if you were on your own and there was a fire, you'd feel like there's someone with you. So the way that we design our gardens, we take a holistic approach. We don't just look at the planting, we don't just look at a water feature, we look at everything together, see how the client's going to use the space, and we try and incorporate as many of the elements which relate to their taste and to their lifestyle as possible. Some people like to have the idea of having a braai and a fire pit. For me, I like to have a braai as a separate item, mainly because of the fat and dripping that happens in a braai environment. Every time you use your fire pit, you're not necessarily going to braai. But if it's used as a braai, you're going to be smelling all of that fat that's now being burnt again when you just want to enjoy a nice evening with a drink around a fire.
Okay, you've now convinced me I need to have a fire pit in my back garden. What are some of the factors, though, that I need to take into account before I'd install one?
So the most important thing is to understand where in the garden it's going to be placed. If there are any overhead structures, things like roofs, awnings, pergolas, that could pose a potential problem in terms of the fire burning them or affecting them. It's sometimes not burning, it might just be discoloration. But largely it's to do with being in a comfortable area or comfortable space in your garden. So it's not just about the fire pit, it's about the surroundings. You ideally want to be sitting in a cozy little spot, and the fire just adds to that. It's not, I wouldn't suggest putting it in the middle of your garden, in the middle of the lawn, and just having the fire there. That doesn't have the same effect as if you have a little comfy corner with some nice broadleaf plants or some structural elements, even grassy plants to add some additional movement when there's a breeze. Those types of spaces lend themselves more to having a fire pit.
And what about height-wise? I mean, obviously you want to be able to see the fire and you've got to be sitting down to do it.
Yeah. So in terms of the height of a fire pit, the lower the fire pit, the more the heat radiates out. So if you're looking at it from a heating point of view in wintertime perhaps, it makes sense to have it lower. With us, generally speaking, about 300 mils is about the height that we would have the platforms. It's about the height of a page or a ruler, a page in a book or a ruler.
So what about sunken fire pits? I mean, do you think that they are better, or do you think going up that 300 mils is a good idea?
I would say that's completely up to your personal preference. Just the one thing that people don't realize, you need to have drainage. Otherwise, when the rainy season comes, it becomes a small pond. And the small pond is one thing, it's the mosquitoes and the algae and other things that happen that aren't so pleasant. And even if you're building one up, if you're building a 300 mil high little wall, basically like a plinth, you still need to provide for some drainage out. It's not a massive amount of drainage, it's only to accommodate the water that's going to fall into the fire pit. There's no runoff from a garden area or a roof, so but it does make a difference. If you don't have it, you'll know.